Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics and Living, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about how to get rid of the cliques in the Catholic parish. Now before we begin, let's start with the prayer. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper et saecula saeculorum. Amen. Okay, so parishes have cliques, let's be real. Growing up in the 80s and 90s and early noughts, the big clique I probably saw was the Acts retreat cliques. And I get it. Look, a lot of people maybe are isolated and lonely, and they go on a retreat like Acts or Cursillo, and they feel awake in the Lord, and they've made these friends, and a lot of these retreats are very emotion-based, almost like the Protestants. It's very emotion-based to get you stirred up. And I'm not maligning the retreats at all. They serve a purpose, and they do awaken the passion of a lot of Catholics who maybe their faith is a little dormant. But in the parishes I've seen, you see this, we've done Acts. Oh, you haven't done Acts? You don't want to do Acts? What's wrong with you? And it seems like a lot of the leadership positions in parishes are Acts. So you're either Acts or you're not Acts. And if you're not Acts or whatever retreat, then you're kind of maybe isolated. So that's one kind of clique. Certainly, if your parish has a school connected to it, like an elementary school, you can see how the families that have their kids in this school might feel like they're in a higher level, a higher status. And kind of like James and John and their mom, who has the higher place. On one level, everyone's going to deny these kind of things, like, oh, I don't think I'm better than other parishioners, or I don't think my kid's better than better parishioners, or I don't think I'm a better practicing Catholic than other people. But it exists. Everybody knows it. And I think it's exacerbated in the Catholic world because when you go to Mass, Mass is a very vertical thing. It's not horizontal. When you go to a megachurch, it's very horizontal. It's very fellowship-based. It's getting to know the people. It's even the new people get the new parking. You get parking up close, and there's a business funnel associated with that. But look, there's ancillary benefits to that, and that's something that maybe the Catholics can learn a little from, in that when you go to an evangelical church, there's certainly more of a community feeling. The cynic would say, of course, they have to compensate for something because they don't have the sacraments or apostolic succession, but you do feel that. And so they typically have a lot of outreach groups as well. A lot of them are free in terms of like after evening meetings and groups, Alcoholics Anonymous, dating groups and all that. So that kind of reinforces it. And there's a lot of volunteer activities during Mass, like you could work at the nursery or youth group or all these things. And you juxtapose that with the Catholic Mass and the typical Catholic parish. I mean, you can walk in and maybe somebody's going to be saying hello to you. There might be a hospitality person. And then you go in, you go to Mass, and then you leave. If you're new to this parish, it's very hard to make friends because you leave, everyone's talking, some people are talking in the front, and then you just leave. And you could be at this parish for years and never make friends. Now, yes, the onus is on one level, the new people to join the groups, because there's always going to be apostolates, there's going to be groups involved in the parish. That being said, it still can be very isolating and cold. And then going back to the cliques, they exist. And I have an episode here, we're all Pharisees on one level. And we have another episode here how I think traditionalists tend to be more Pharisaic than even the modernists or the moderates. And there's this mindset, and it's just part of human nature, us versus them, tribalism, whatever it is. You know, my people are the right people. You're a stranger. I don't trust you. I don't like the way you look, your ways. Your faith isn't as fervent as ours, you know, and so forth. And lots of times once they get to know those outsiders, now you're part of the group, right? This is very kind of endogenous with the human ethos. How do we fix the cliques in the Catholic parishes? I don't think you can, really. It's not like in that scene of Mean Girls after the big fight where they get everybody in the room and they do the trust exercise and everyone speaks honestly. I mean, you can't do that at a Catholic parish. Certainly, the pastor can be a great role model in having a lot of activities in really welcoming new people and encouraging them to be active, and that's one way to get involved. But in terms of the cliqueness, I don't really think there's a way to get around that. I think in any institution, there's going to be cliques in the Catholic Church, in the Catholic parish, in the Catholic parents, and so forth, are not different than that. And I would say for any of you who have experienced this, where either your kids are not in the cool group, or you're in Sunday school, but you're teaching Sunday school, but you're not with the clique with the Sunday school people, or the kids are all close, but you're new, and so people don't want to do play dates with you. I would just tell you to be patient. And ultimately, look, it's just kind of human nature, and we don't want to throw away the baby with the bathwater. So if you go to a parish where the people you perceive to be rude and arrogant, first of all, I would maybe check yourself and see, are they really being rude or arrogant, or maybe you're misinterpreting it. And secondly, you don't throw away the Catholic Church just because you have one bad priest. We have an episode on that. Or even there's one bad scandal. We have an episode on that as well. How many people left the Catholic Church because of the sex abuse scandals about 20 years ago in Boston? And so I would tell you, it's like, don't stop going to Mass because you've experienced a rude priest or a rude parishioner or a snobby parishioner and so forth. As Christ talks about, he's going to separate the weed and the wheats at the end. Okay, we don't separate them now. And ultimately, you have to judge the church for its fruit, its works. And the true church founded by Jesus Christ has innumerable fruit and works. If you find a parish to be really unpalatable to you, of course, by canon law, you can go to any other parish that you want. But ultimately, in every parish, there's going to be cliques. So in closing, I just think it's one of those things that we're just going to have to get used to, and that's always going to exist. If you don't agree with me, or if you've experienced these things, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.